back to the square. I am your host, Curtis the Fifth.
And I'm Curtis the Fourth.
How are you doing today?
Hot.
Yeah, we got a heat wave rolling through right now.
Warm outside.
It is not fun. Well, today we are just going to be updating on the playoffs, basically in the NBA, and kind of recapping what happened in the first round as everything is wrapped up. We are into round two, the beginnings of all of these series here. Today is June 8th, so we got two games tonight with Atlanta and Philadelphia, LA and Utah. But before we get into any of that, we do have a quick ad break to get to. Check that out. So, diving into all of this NBA talk that we have to do here, because there's a lot of stuff that's happened since the last time we've gone through all of these NBA series here. Every one of them is wrapped up, and since from the first round, we are completely into round two now. Let's start by talking about the overwhelming Game 7, the only Game 7 of round one, and that would be LA with Dallas, and kind of Dallas has collapsed in the last two games.
Yeah, I mean Dallas. I don't know. It's very hard to take anything from this series. It was very weird. You got the road team winning 6 of the 7 games.
Yep.
Up until Game 7, it defies and it goes against all statistical analysis that we follow or we try to research up until this series. This series went against that. It did not mirror your normal analytics. So even to say that they kind of faltered at the end, or did they?
I would say more. So, Game 6, I felt like the last 7 minutes, it was not a win by LA. It was a collapse by Dallas in Game 6. The last 7 minutes, nobody was able to hit shots outside of Luka, and Luka really wasn't able to hit anything any at the end of the game either because he just gassed. He had nothing left.
It was true. However, they were the road team. They were the home team, and home teams haven't won any games up to it was going against that, and that for me by Game 5, that was the biggest statistical thing.
I get that, but that's also part like superstition as well, because it's about the game itself. The last 7 minutes of that game.
I finished. I understand. If you just take the one sample size, take the game all by itself, you're absolutely correct. Contextually under that one, I know it's a fluky rule, but it happens. Or
it does, but what I'm saying is I don't care about the fact that the road team wasn't winning games. It didn't matter because again, that whole logic broke down in Game 7. So
because it was Game 7,
I don't care. So that's why I throw it out. It's okay, yes, but it's really more about the players themselves and what happened in that game. Kristaps, where the hell were you this series? The fact that Tim Hardaway and Jalen Brunson are more of have a more impactful role for Dallas than you do as the highest paid player on this team. That's tragic. Now, I will give credit. He did in Game 6. He did show up in the first half of that game.
Mm-hmm.
It really was honestly the Luka and Kristaps show in the first half. The backdoor cuts that he was making, just kind of all of the presence in the paint in the first half was huge, and it got them out to a lead. They were up by 10. I mean, they just the last 7 minutes of the game where Luka does not have the literal energy left spent in him to be able to go out there and finish that game off. That's where your number 2 guy needs to come in, or that's also where the number 2 guy, when Luka is sitting for the first 4 minutes of that quarter, you have to extend on that lead or at least keep that lead as far as it was. But they were always, LA in the last 7 minutes just kept chipping away. And then by the time we got down to, I think, 3 or 4 minutes, that's when it was all tied up, and then they got the lead and didn't let it go. So I'm disappointed with Dallas, the way that they finished out Game 6. And then on Game 7, anything can happen, obviously. It's a Game 7. It's a win or go home situation for both sides.
Right.
I have no issues with the way that Dallas played in that game. I have no issues with the way the Clippers played in that game. It's a game 7. It's just how that kind of rolls. Luka had 46 points in that game, and he was literally the only thing going for them. Because
Yeah.
they when they lost the lead in the second half, that was it. They just literally could not. It was only Luka, and shots just weren't falling.
And that's you kind of touched on it a little earlier. They did not have an established number two in this series. Porzingis, Hardaway, take your pick from game to game, but the consistency of the two just would have been, statistically from what we're looking at, would have been what your number three would have did, and that would have been fine. But just by looking at it, it was really just the Luca show, and everyone else actually had decent games, but they was just so complimentary, and it
It
did
was so
not, it
average.
wasn't going to put them over the hump. And needless to say, on both sides of the basketball, but I'm speaking to Dallas specifically right now, where's the defense? I mean, okay, when you're giving up, 120 some odd points, 126 points in the game 7. Come on, you be like, well, you score 111. That's, I mean, just no defense, and that. Granted, if you lose in the game, great. I mean, okay, someone had to lose, but you giving up 126, okay, I'm gonna stop right there.
Yeah.
Because offensively, yeah, you put up 111, but again, you give up you 126. It's just your defense has to be established. You cannot just offense your way and shoot your way all the way to a championship series. It just that does not happen. Unfortunately, it just came down to in the first round down to a game 7 where someone had to advance.
Yeah.
So okay, I guess admirable
Performance.
performance for the Clippers, but not overly. I'm not
I wasn't
overly
thrilled by the way that they
right.
played
I wasn't
either.
overwhelmed by them. I mean, then you just gave up a 111. You held on, and
I
I
mean,
mean, you did what
just
you
talking
had.
about Game 7,
Hmm?
Kawhi Leonard only had 28 points, and I think that was a great performance defensively from Luka. I know he wasn't 100% guarding him, but when he was, he did do what he could. And
Right.
when Kristaps was on him, that's where when you're seeing Kawhi go down and he's driving and he's dunking on Kristaps Porzingis, come on,
Yeah.
like this dude is at least 5 inches taller than you. You got to be able to do something better than that. And it was throughout the entire game. It wasn't just he got tired at the end of it. No, it was the entire game he was getting dunked on. Um, and I mean, because he was only 1 for 3 from 3 point range in that in that game 7. Paul George only had 22 points. He was not. I mean, there was nothing special about it. He was 5 for 15, 2 for 8 from 3, but he was 10 for 10 from the free throw line. So 6 rebounds, 10 assists. I mean, he was doing his playmaking thing out there, but man, scoring wise, they weren't doing anything special. I mean, Marcus Morris was I think he was kind of the one of the X factors of this series because
Mm.
him hitting threes, just corner threes, he was drilling them,
And
and
they didn't really have anybody for him specifically, especially with the woes of Porzingis and what was going on with him. It just Hardaway can't obviously Hardaway can't match up with a Marcus Morris, even on the perimeter. I mean, he could stay in front of him, but you don't want to match your guards
yeah,
up against him. And it just they exploited a mismatch. Okay, this might be one of the few times we're really talking about or spotlighting a Marcus Morris, but
yeah,
yeah, that definitely was the X factor, specifically in this game 4. I mean, game 7.
yeah,
Yeah, like Kawhi and Paul George, they did their jobs. Nothing overwhelming. 28, 22. Doing what they have to do, but they did control momentum of the game. They controlled pace. In game 7, because I mean Dallas could have made a push at any point, but as we seen, it just supporting cast really wasn't there anymore. I don't know if they were gassed or anything. They just didn't have it that
I
night.
mean, plus Tim Hardaway got injured in that game 7 as well. So, like I said, I'm just
Right, to
disappointed
your
with.
point, which if they could have took care of business in game 6, wouldn't have had to have this
True.
issue. So
Yeah. So, and that's where I was. That's where I'm disappointed with Dallas. It's just you had your opportunity in Game 6. You were up by 10, at least 10, with 7 minutes left to go in that game. Luka comes in at that 7 minute mark. You guys got to finish. It cannot be a situation where you're looking at this team just collapse and not be able, literally just not able to hit any of those shots that you need to put that game six away. So I don't have too much. I mean, Dallas, I think they need to, with the cap space that they do have, you can keep Kristaps Porzingis. Hopefully, I mean, the NFL, I mean, sorry, the NBA PA won't allow it, but he should. The Mavericks should be looking to restructure that contract because he should not be getting paid as much as he should for the way that he's been playing. But two, you can keep him on the roster, but you need a bona fide number two because Luca has established himself. He is that dude, and
Right.
I don't think anybody is ever going to doubt that. If you are, I mean,
Not
what are
watching
you?
basketball.
What exactly are you talking about there? Because I mean, the only thing that you can really knock is his, for one, his movement without the basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Fine, I get that, but he's still what 22 years old.
Yeah.
And then people will say his defense, but still, I mean, yeah, he had 7 rebounds. Like he's still getting around. You're not expecting him to block anything, and you're really, he could get more steals, but he's doing what he can out there, and he's doing 46 points a night uh, in the playoffs, going up mainly in this series for the second half of it. He was going up straight up against Kawhi, and he could not stop him.
Right.
So you've got a bona fide number one in Luka Doncic. Kristaps is a borderline number 3 in my opinion, and you need somebody that can really step up. And I love Tim Hardaway being a role player. I love Dorian Finney-Smith being a role player. Jalen Brunson coming off the bench is amazing. Max Kleba, he definitely is a big part of what they're doing over there. So they've got those pieces. They definitely are in a situation where they've got most of it. They got that nucleus for the most part figured out. They just need that second star to come in to, I think, put them over the top because they got the role players and they've got the number one. So they just need one more star.
I agree. I agree with that.
So I'm excited to see what Dallas is going to do in this offseason. But let's talk about the LA side of it for a second here.
Yeah, I just trimmed it off. I didn't want to go too deep into Dallas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
getting into LA here because
You gonna be okay?
no, to me, I'm just not impressed, and I'm not, and I just told it to you, like I don't care about this series with them versus Utah.
Hmm.
Yes, Donovan Mitchell on the other side with Rudy Gobert and those guys, but I don't care. Like I just in the West, I'm completely done with that series already. Like I just want to get
Wow.
into. I mean, and it would be more exciting if Denver had um Jamal Murray, but they don't. So I'm really the only, like, as a fan here, there's only one team that I really care about on the West, and that's Phoenix.
Okay.
Because it's just a fun team to watch. But
Okay.
man, it's just the West I'm kind of done with now that Dallas is out.
All right. So your horse is down. Now you soured on the Western Conference.
Yeah, definitely.
Interesting. Well, wait. Well, the NBA does still have, like we discussed in the past, they have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, hang in there. I think the Clippers might, at least in some back alley, back aspect way, find a way to entertain you. I think they could make the series just interesting, just because it's the Clippers, and Clippers is a train wreck waiting to happen. And
I'm just not. Their basketball is so emotionless. Like they don't even get excited when in that game 7. I'm sorry, I don't care about seeing Kawhi stone cold face. Like the only emotion that came from that game was literally Reggie Jackson hitting that 3 to go up 120 to like 109 or something like that. When he hit that 3, that was the only emotion that I saw out of that team at any time.
Well, yeah, I mean they're a different breed. You don't have to sell me. I mean, I'm not a big time Clippers fan, but it just they're new, and it's again they're just train wreck just that you're seeing, and it's like, okay, how are they going to mess it up this year? You know, I mean, I'm saying that to myself. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that's what people say. I'm not saying that that's a saying or a slogan because it's
No.
not really, but not even a sentiment. But historically speaking, one could speak to that. Just
Completely
how
fair.
can they make the? How they're gonna mess it up? I mean, did they resurrect? Is this going to be that year that they make the run? That's what makes it interesting to me. Just a lot of questions because there's a lot of question marks coming from the Clippers. Can they
Have they
be
even
that
made it to
team?
a conference finals?
They said no. I could have sworn they went to one, but I'm guessing they lost in. I think it was maybe the second round. They lost in 7 games.
Okay.
So I don't think so. With that being said, but I did see them in the second round a
Yeah.
couple times.
Well, yeah, definitely. They were in second round last year. Um.
I
Now,
mean, not these type of teams. I'm talking about
no,
Clippers
I know what you're
back in the
saying.
day
I got you,
Clippers.
but yeah. So I mean, I'm just not thrilled with LA. But if we're getting into this series, it does start tonight. So game one is going to be on tonight. Later. It's the late game, but the Clippers versus Utah. I'm just trying to figure out where.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing. You just seem
No, I'm just
so
trying to figure out where
disgusted with
does
this take.
Utah, how does Utah attack LA to get over their powerhouse duo?
I
Is it
don't
going to
know.
be
I
a Rudy
know.
Gobert show?
See, I'm glad you. It's interesting you brought it up. I don't know, and that's a good question because I know we're not doing predictions, but I mean, it just a series like this just it stands to ask the question, man. Like, who do you get in this one?
Yeah, I
Like, who do you really believe will be win this? Because this can go either way,
honestly,
you know. And I'm like, I'm looking at the roster, and I'm like, okay, everything with the Clippers should say they should be able to win this relatively easily, but we've seen the Clippers in general, and I'm sorry, I can't give them that anymore. So, and Utah is the number one seed. I'm not I'm not feeling them as the best number one seed ever. However, they are legit, but I still the jury's still out. I mean,
I don't know.
I haven't warmed up to them
Yeah,
yet. So this I feel you on this series. Like I'm not sour on the Clippers, but I'm not they're not a sentimental pick either. It's just
no.
kind of like all right, somebody had to. Okay, you won Game 7, impressive. You won the game you're supposed to win.
Yeah,
Finally, and I'm like, that's all I could take from the series. And now you're here, and it's like,
and Utah's
okay,
just been sitting and waiting.
exactly. And for both teams, it's kind of like if y'all that team, this series is gonna tell us because once somebody got, what I'm saying, somebody has to win this series to
True.
even be considered to being that team all of a sudden, or just maybe this is the team making that turn because right now it's looking like Phoenix is just going, in the formality aspect. Phoenix is just going, just gonna go ahead and walk through this. I ain't gonna say like walk on like just like
I think it's going to turn into a series at some point, but it right now Phoenix is on fire.
yeah,
And that's what, and they're fun to watch. They are exciting. They do have a ton of emotion. They wear their heart on their sleeves with every single play. And I think the addition with CP3 really brought out the personality in D Book.
right.
So I'm excited for what they've got going on that side. But when it comes to LA, like I said, it's not that I don't think that they're a good team. It's just they're so emotionless. Like I just like I that's not fun to watch for me. I don't like seeing you hit a dagger three at the end of the game and
But also,
cool.
I mean, maybe you like this and maybe you don't. I'm not a particular personally. I'm not particularly a fan of just a lot of iso ball, and
That too.
it's a lot of that. I mean, you're seeing a lot of that with LA. You see a lot of it over
They
there
try
in
to slow the game down.
see it in Brooklyn.
Hmm.
You just there's themes that. But with that being said, it's just a lot of iso ball. It's the stuff I used to watch when I was on the playground, and it's just when I'm on the playground, that's what I expect to see. But
The NBA.
this is team. It's supposed to be team basketball where you got four guys, just kind of watching one guy do his thing, and
Yeah.
everybody getting out the way, and now we got 16, 20,000 people watching this. This is I
And
don't know.
there's one thing I noticed about LA that kind of shocked me because I didn't watch them so much last year with Paul George on the team and Kawhi's their first year together,
Mm-hmm.
but it was weird with Game 7. I never really noticed when Paul George was on the floor.
Hmm.
Like you get that wide shot of the whole team, and I'm looking, I'm like, okay, that's Reggie Jackson over there. There's obviously Kawhi's got the ball, Marcus Morris in the corner,
Hmm.
no name over here in this other corner,
Right.
like. And then, like, where the hell is Paul George? And he'd be off the court and be like, okay, I thought he was in. I don't know why he's sitting right now. Fine. And then other times they'd zoom in and he'd be guarding Luca, and I'm like, where the? I haven't seen you this entire quarter. Where? Like, it's just it's so weird watching them because the focus so much is on Kawhi, and he's supposed to be this dude that's going to eat from the lack of attention from him, but he just is. It's whether he's putting up 22, 30, 10, 5, like, it doesn't matter how many points he's scoring. It doesn't seem, it's always quiet.
Hmm.
It's never where it's never like, oh, this is a real game where Paul George came out and he really showed
You
out.
don't see the impact. Is
No.
what you're saying, and it's just the way it's the style and how they play. But the basketball here and with the Clippers, I really don't know what their identity is. It's Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, his sidekick, and they're gonna get theirs, and then everybody else kind of files in the Batums, the
Yeah.
Reggie Jacksons, the Morrises. They really have trimmed the bench down, and there's been not been much play from the bench. But
Yeah.
I guess you could say in a game seven, it's understandable. But so I don't want to take too much into that just yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, uh, it's I don't know. I'm I don't want to go into last week's take, and it's the style of basketball that they choosing to play, and I'm not in agreement with it at all. It's I'm not a fan of
But
this.
the Clippers are an outlier because they're the only team that doesn't play the kind of, to me, they're not a team that plays the same style as what today's game is, where yeah, it's about threes, but or it's more about just a faster pace of play and putting up more points. Yes, obviously they're more of a defensive. They're supposed to be a more defensive minded team, but still, it's just it doesn't. Even with them slowing the game down, you're still not a team that's putting up things like the Brooklyn Nets are, where they're putting up 140 a night. Like,
Yeah, they're not. Well, they don't have a bunch of perimeter shooters on this team. They have a
no, they
bunch
don't.
of athletic guys who puts the ball on the floor and and create. And that's what I'm saying. You've seen a lot of iso ball,
Yeah.
and different type of teams. So, but that's where they found. That's where their bread and butter is. You see it in Brooklyn, but of course, Brooklyn comes with a barrage of threes on top of that. And
Yeah.
but here we're talking about a top heavy team versus a super team, and look, this is what the mechanics of how they work,
Yeah.
and yeah, it is what it is. It's not necessarily the greatest thing to watch, but not the worst thing either. I guess it's all in perspective,
Hmm.
and if you're a fan of it, great. If you're not, you can find 1,000 things to dissect about what's wrong with it. We just gave two, but we can keep going. But it's I'm there. I guess I was just gonna like we don't even have to talk about that.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those. It goes without saying. That I think the Clippers making it out the first round in general and beating Dallas, that makes it interesting. And now that they tonight's game, I find it just to be interesting because man, no matter what, this year we getting either the Clippers or the Jazz in the conference championship. That's interesting to me. Just if I don't know anything else, I know that.
Yeah.
Like wow, okay. I've never seen the Clippers in there, and I had Jazz. Man, we talking back when the Bulls. We talking about
Yeah.
we talking about the Dynasty Bulls era now. I'm like, huh, it's
It's
been a
been a while.
long time. So interesting. I'm just you gotta find the interest in different areas. It
Yeah.
ain't coming from where we normally think, oh man, look at the matchups and man, Kawhi and you
That's
got
the thing. I mean, I'm a little bit excited to see this series only because I don't know what this is going to look like versus these two teams.
right.
Like, I like just have no idea who's going to be attacking where, who's guarding who for the first in the first place, and how Utah responds to the Clippers big two, and how the Clippers respond to Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. Like, I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna play this.
And how evenly matched is this really? Did the Clippers tank? Did they really tank games? Like,
Yeah.
and like, I mean, were they supposed to be the second seed? Are we looking at a
Well, they're supposed to be the first seed.
even that? That's what I'm saying. With that being said, are we looking at a preview of what we were supposed to see in the Western Conference Championship one round early? It's all these what ifs and these
Yeah.
kind of hypotheticals that's coming from it, like because the Clippers really is a wild card. It's like okay, y'all kind of chuck some games at the end,
Mm-hmm.
kind of played with the seedings. You almost got bounced out. You ended up in this game 7. It's all of this stuff, and okay, you come out now. You got to take on the first seed. They legit. They showed themselves to be legit this and battle tested this year. Now what if they go in there, and LA gets blown out in game 1? Now we back here. What do we take from all that? Here we go again. The train wreck is starting to happen. Like it's all unraveling.
But you also have to take into account this is the oldest playoff adage in the NBA of all time is the series doesn't start until the home team loses. So
Oh,
I mean,
God.
I don't really because and that's what I kind of getting into Phoenix versus Denver. That's kind of
Yeah.
what I get out of that. Is like okay, Phoenix took care of business at home,
Mhm.
which I mean that's what they're supposed to do, and it was fun to watch like the
Uh,
way that they play.
it's a little bit more, and I know these inflated scores changing is really taken away from if you're not watching the games,
Yeah,
it ain't telling the story. Like Phoenix was down in this game at one
yeah.
point. That's what I'm so shocked by where they ended up.
But the thing about even with them being down, what I'm looking at the box score right now, there were 4 players with 20 plus points.
And
That's a team win.
yes, that's what I was, and that's partially what I'm getting at. It was just them being down. All I was just saying is, even in adversity, they didn't crack under the pressure. They kept playing, they kept plugging. Before you know it, they caught the momentum,
Yeah.
caught the lead, and then never looked back. It wasn't one of these, oh, no lead is safe.
Yeah.
Now we see some in the leads back and forth. No, they caught them and then they kept going. This is how basketball actually used to be played. Like you can be down a certain amount of points and come back in some cases and then win the game. Not this whole back and forth. Okay, I'm down 14. Now they're up 11, but we lose. But the team that's up 11 still loses by 7 at the
Yeah.
end of the game. What is that? Like this wasn't that. Denver was given everything that they got. They was able to take the lead. They just couldn't maintain it.
Yeah.
And then Phoenix came. Denver made their runs. They kept trying to stay in it, but Phoenix was just too much. That's that they're the real deal.
Yeah.
In,
Oh yeah.
in,
I think Phoenix showed that in the last series. That
and
they're the real deal.
and 4 starters with 20 plus points.
Yeah, that was one of the box scores that shocked me the most about this game. Just that was an all around team win. Now their defense, their bench did not. They got to do more, obviously. But
Right.
and I think that's the reason why they were down by so much at one point in this game is because when you got your starters coming off the floor, and you got guys like Dario Saric coming in and only scoring 5 points, Torrey Craig putting it up 9, solid. That's what he's supposed to do. But Cam Johnson, Cameron Payne, you guys combined for 9 points. Come on, we need more out of you, especially Cam Johnson. Like 2 points, you only hit 1 field goal. We need a lot more out of you, especially when DeAndre Ayton is off the floor.
And 1 measly rebound.
Yeah. So that's one thing. The other thing is Denver used almost everybody that they had on their roster. They didn't. There's no 10-man rotation with Denver. I haven't watched them too much this year, but when I'm looking at them now, you're in the playoffs. You're going with
They're 9 deep.
but they played 11 guys.
Oh no.
12.
Yeah, they played everybody
except for JaVale McGee.
Right. I was just saying that, in the aspect, a few people have had a couple minutes, but other than them, and I'm guessing they probably just came in at the very end.
Maybe
they pulled everybody,
right.
So everybody got to play, except JaVale McGee.
That is a little bit child. They just don't care about JaVale McGee.
Is he on the playoff roster?
Yeah, he is.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
He's sitting there on the bench in his warm-ups. Just not playing.
Oh, okay.
I'm not exactly sure why. I think that he definitely could bring a certain element, especially kind of backing up Aaron Gordon and Jokic, but to each their own. I guess they're more interested in having Bol Bol play,
Yes.
but he only played 2 minutes. So
Again, I think this was just at the very end, so it didn't.
yeah, I don't know. But that's the other thing about Denver, though. For me, this team isn't complete because they don't even have Jamal Murray right now.
No, I think that's they're gonna end up feeling that in this series more so than ever.
100% with the way that the guard play is for Phoenix right now,
If Phoenix is
especially if Cameron Payne wakes up.
yeah, and you gotta take in the count now. Even with a game under their belt in this series, they got to be carrying over the momentum. Or they just beat the defending champs.
Yeah.
Defending bubble champs, but defending champs nevertheless. Yes, I'm going to say that. With that being said, I think that they're going to keep their foot. Chris Paul is going to keep these guys.
Locked in.
Exactly. Just and keep they the blood's in the water. Keep at it. Just don't take your foot off the pedal.
That could have been the GM move of the year, signing Chris Paul.
It could have been because when I heard about it, I was like,
I felt like it was going to be a OKC last year light.
That's what I was getting. I was almost like the Westbrook in Washington. I thought it was going to be just one of these.
Yeah.
Good player, necessarily a great team.
I was kind of confused when he went there because I was like, I don't know. It just even with the new head coach and Monty Williams, and which by the way, I do believe Monty Williams should have 100% won Coach of the Year over Tom Thibodeau.
Oh, absolutely.
I was a little when I saw that come because I was just out and about yesterday and I saw that come across my phone. And I was like, Tom over Monty like.
You have to
NBA's got to get better. Like, you guys got to be better on that. That's bad.
He brought the New York franchise out of the depths and got them the 4 seed in the playoffs.
Yet they're still worse than the Brooklyn Nets.
They are, and worse than the Brooklyn Nets because they're a super team. But with that being said,
they were because they were the only 2 teams that were supposed to be in the running to go get Kyrie and KD, and
they're still trying to fix all kind of cap situations and contracts.
No, they need to fix their ownership situation. They need to get Dolan the fuck out.
That's what I'm saying. It's just they got a whole bunch of other stuff where that wasn't as simple as you made that sound. And I'm saying all I'm getting is I didn't understand how he won.
I understand it, but over Monty Williams, what Monty Williams did with this team this year,
Monty Williams should have been there. But what Thibodeau he symbolically did collectively, I think he got a lot of sentimental votes this year. Not saying that he wasn't deserving to be in.
I thought he was 100% in the running, but I did not think by any stretch of imagination Todd Thibodeau should have been the Coach of the Year over what Monty Williams has done with this roster with Phoenix.
So that's true, but then it's a discredit to how sports have been covered, specifically in the Western Conference all season long. With because Phoenix has gotten overshadowed with the LeBron stuff. I don't know, and that's my point. Because when did they become relevant? When they beat them.
I have been on my soapbox for Phoenix.
No, hear me. Talking about the news cycle. That's what I'm saying. Phoenix was, we knew Phoenix existed, but you didn't never hear about. You heard about Chris Paul here and there. You never heard about Devin Booker whatsoever. But you would hear about this Chris Paul and look, the things he's doing down the street. That was the only thing you was getting Phoenix related, which was really just about Chris Paul. It wasn't even about the Phoenix Suns. But as soon as they eliminate LA, now we're dissecting the Phoenix Suns as an organization. We're looking at Monty Williams, the coach. Oh, Monty Williams is the coach? I didn't even know who the coach was up until right now. I'm like, I actually watched this dude play basketball. I didn't know you were the coach, It's crazy because all of a sudden it's like, Phoenix. That's the Phoenix Suns, a team I know. Oh, okay.
Well, this is the first time since in my NBA watching career that I've ever seen Phoenix actually look good.
Wow. Yeah.
Because, I didn't start watching basketball until 2010.
I was going to say, in 2000s, they were
I know.
off and on.
I would hear about it, Steve Nash, obviously, and everything that was happening with Mike D'Antoni. I see those images all the time, but I was just like, they still suck. They can't. They can't.
They want to win that. They're not winning anything. They were that team that would just knock on the conference championship door, but it wasn't that team.
They're Utah.
Well, that remains to be. So we're about to find out tonight.
Yeah, fair.
Game 1, because again, if sports bettors told me who you put in your money, oh man, just give me the little roulette table and.
Honestly,
do you want it on black or red? Because it's 50-50 at this. I don't know.
I'm not going to be able to make any really.
I
can't diagnose that.
Right.
Because I'm taking Phoenix in this Denver series, specifically because their style of play and without Denver having Jamal Murray, it would be completely different without. I think Denver would be the favorite if they had Jamal Murray,
Maybe.
because I
Possibly.
think Denver would absolutely steamroll this Clippers team with Jamal Murray.
How long was Murray out?
He's been out for quite a few months now. He has an Achilles tear,
Okay. That might
or
possibly.
it's either Achilles or torn ACL.
That
One of the
may
A's.
possibly be. I mean, they theoretically could have been that team that was supposed to make that push
Next
forward.
in line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and hey, injuries. I'm just gonna say injuries is a part of the game.
That's fair.
It's valid now. Like it's valid more so in the NBA than it ever has been. And now I just want to start speaking to that. At any given point, any of these players can go down. When that happens, I'm sorry because the way that they cover the Golden State Cleveland thing, it's always covered one sided. You want to
Yeah.
know why Golden State won in 2015? It's because Kyrie was out and such and such. You want to know why Cleveland won in 2016? It's because over here on this side of the ball, Draymond was out he was suspended for this game and such was out for this. It's like every series there was some key person out.
I will say for that, that lends credence. That's playoff basketball. One guy going down, that happens. Now, and I will say, kind of backtracking back to LA and with the Clippers and everything that's happening with Kawhi Leonard. Honestly, this might be a hot take. I think Kawhi Leonard's overrated. Because the only reason why you were able to win that Toronto series and get them a championship was because you didn't have the greatest offensive player right now in KD on the floor, and then in Game 6, you lose the second greatest shooter in the game right now with Klay Thompson, and they were cooking against them too in Game 6. That was the Splash Brothers of old. Like they were just hitting everything, and then they got hot. Couldn't stop them at all. And you put Kawhi on Klay Thompson, and then Klay Thompson, he's the definition of 3-and-D.
Mm-hmm.
And he went out there, and nobody can put the clamps on Kawhi. Obviously, this dude's just insane specimen of a human. But to slow him down to the extent where you only have 20 points at that moment in the game, in the fourth quarter,
right?
Like Klay Thompson was giving you that business. So
there's still a KD out there roaming.
Yeah, and so at the end of the day, I look back at that and I'm like, okay, yeah, and yes, injuries are a part of the game that happens, and I'm giving Toronto their flowers because that was a good team.
Mm-hmm.
I love Fred VanVleet over there. Pascal Siakam was huge in that series, so yes, they had a good team and they did deserve to win. But I do think they would have lost if they were fully healthy because I just don't like from just that Game 6 alone.
Mm-hmm.
From what I was seeing, even with when KD went back out,
right?
That team was rolling against them.
Yeah, and I agree. I was just simply stating that injuries are a part of this.
Yeah.
So at any point, it's factored if somebody, a key person or some major contributor falls by the wayside and a team takes a hit for that. It is completely and absolutely understandable. Now I understand you're out the race. Injuries can or it will happen here. So
I mean, it does ruin it because I'm looking at Denver and I'm like, God damn, with Jamal Murray, this team is nice, and this would be probably one of the best series of all the playoffs.
I don't want to take anything away because then if that's the case, we're taking all kinds of championships away from people.
I'm not taking championships away from me. I'm looking in hindsight, looking back and just saying, man, I just really want to see where Jamal Murray comes into this series,
right?
Because I just like his play.
Yeah, and I mean, and that would have changed the seedings. That could have changed that and how the playoffs would have played out.
1,000 different things.
That's what I was saying. It was just that question was loaded. I mean, just where do you put it? I'm like, man, that changed. We ain't even looking at these series. I mean, LA's playing somebody else. I mean,
LA's probably out.
Clippers are probably out.
Lakers, no, I'm talking about the Lakers are probably out.
Still, I mean, even make the play in.
Yeah.
It just exactly. It changes everything. So take what you need to take from it. I would just say, just reserve your judgment for the Jazz and the Clippers. Just at least get Game 1 in.
Yeah, I have to watch Game 1 because I literally can't even imagine what that is going to look like.
I don't think anybody can really. I think that that is the one thing that makes it. I don't necessarily say makes it exciting, but it makes it interesting because
Interesting, yeah.
it's like, right. I don't know what's gonna happen. If we're gonna look at a blowout, is this gonna be some close slug out fight? Is this gonna be where just the Clippers just come out on super on fire and all of a sudden the Jazz look like some pretenders that aren't supposed to be there, or do the Jazz just come out and show their dominance and
Does the
makes a
rest that the
statement?
Jazz have give them a better a foot up, or is it a start where they're a little bit cold right now,
Right.
and you're coming in off a team that just played 7 games and they still got that adrenaline kind of rush through them? So I get exactly what you're saying with that, and I totally agree. I mean that's why Game 1 is going to be interesting to watch,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm more intrigued with this, even with Jamal Murray being out. I'm more intrigued by this Denver Phoenix series because just the way that Phoenix plays is really interesting. Plus, we have to kind of mention it. Breaking news here: Nikola Jokic did win MVP, so he is. You got the MVP of the league this year going up against what's quite honestly the most exciting team left in the playoffs. Second most exciting team left in the playoffs. No, I'm gonna go with Phoenix. I do like Atlanta, but I'm gonna go with Phoenix. I think Phoenix is more exciting.
That's fair. Atlanta's not gonna be for everybody. Atlanta's one of my choices, but
yeah. I mean, they're up there,
I don't
but
even
I
put,
just
I
like
didn't even
Phoenix
put
a
them
little
as
bit
my
more.
number one. As the number one. I just think they're making it interesting for the East. To
Yeah.
say the least. Are they more exciting than what I've seen in Phoenix? Heck no, not at all.
Yeah,
Not even
okay.
close. But I didn't never put them in it was never a competition. It was just, hey, they're doing their thing in the East. You do your thing in the West. We meet in the finals. I mean,
Please
man,
do.
Phoenix, Atlanta.
Don't tease me.
Don't that sound like some old crazy? Had an NHL Stanley Cup Finals type crazy stuff. It's Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
It's just something. It sounds weird. But I mean, hell, we just had a bubble championship, so we seen
I would 100%
I
take
think
a Phoenix Atlanta.
I think an authentic LA Miami finals would have been much different than what we seen in the bubble. With that being said, yeah, Atlanta Phoenix, that sounds like a bubble competition type.
It sounds
without
like
the
it,
bubble.
but I mean, it sounds like it's a bubble competition type game. But when you actually look at the matchups, that'd be one of the most fun finals we've seen in a long time.
It would almost like. Well, that was fun to me when Dallas played Miami.
Yeah,
that was the first go around.
Yeah, that was fun.
Now the second time wasn't bad either, but it was kind of like nice both times. But yeah, there was a very refreshingly different type of series. I mean, in two different decades, which was interesting. But in both cases, they were very interesting finals. But but they were fun. They were fun to watch.
Yes.
All right.
Well, let's talk East basketball. Yes. Let's talk Atlanta, Philadelphia. Man, Trae Young, this dude,
he's that dude. That's all. That's all I need to say about him. He's that dude.
Trae Young is insane. He has been lighting up. I mean, I wish Luka had a better team around him because, man, that having both of them still in the playoffs would be amazing. But that's neither here nor there. You got to give Trae Young the respect because, man, he was giving Philadelphia the work in Game 1.
Yeah, he was.
It wasn't fair. It was not fair.
I mean, I don't know if you seen it. It looked so effortless to him. Like he would just he'd do this one little step move. He'd do a small little fake and then just make his move and just score.
You know what? You know what play? Because I know you watched that game. You know what play told me that Atlanta was winning that game? Trae Young pulled up from half court and lobbed that pass to Collins, and they alley-ooped on that. I was like, oh, it's over. He has got so much confidence. While I think Ben Simmons was guarding him right there, and he did not care, and he just, thank you, like, just please give me my assist. Like, it was that. When you're talking about effortless, he just threw that up there like it was nothing.
Oh, I mean, look, the piggyback. You see the one where he tossed it up, and Capella was supposed to get it, but then Capella didn't even look. Because he just teardropped right into the basket. He ended up scoring. It was supposed to be alley-oop. I'm like, he that dude. When he ain't trying to score, he scores. Like, if that ain't efficiency, you got people out there killing themselves trying to get 2 points and can't score. I mean, literally.
Yeah.
Been in there 17 minutes, cannot get a basket to save their life. This man ain't even trying to score.
It's insane. And it's
I
him,
mean, I think
Clint
he was pissed.
Capella.
I think he was pissed that Capella messed up his assist.
Yeah,
No,
no,
I'm
he's trying to
kidding.
get that
I was
triple-double.
just kidding. He was close. Oh no, I mean, yeah.
Did he get one?
No, he had a double.
Ah, damn.
35 and 10. Yeah, 10 dimes.
No, yeah, this
It was
game.
supposed to be 11, but
And game 2 is tonight as well, right? That's
Yes.
the early game.
yes.
So I'm definitely sitting down watching that one because that's gonna
But,
be a fun one to watch.
I mean, but hey, I know we're talking Atlanta, and I'm not going to switch over to the 76ers just yet. But
Okay.
I like. I don't. I mean, not to put you can't mirror numbers to what they are, but I like Capella's I like his presence down there, and I think he's not going to stop Embiid, but the fact that he's going to stand there and you know what I'm saying, he's not going anywhere, and I think he at least let Embiid know you're not going to just eat. You score as many points as you want, but I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, hey, because Embiid coming off of what injury did he have? I don't know.
The hip knee thing.
Whatever that was, he comes back and scores what 39.
Yeah, 30. Yeah, 39 and 9. I'm like,
I was like, you weren't injured. I don't know.
Okay, 39 points and I mean you over here with 30 plus points and at the time a blowout.
Oh yeah, and they were and
I know, and I'm not jumping ahead.
No. I want to talk about that for a second because people keep saying Atlanta almost gave this game away. I'm sorry. I don't care that they came back in garbage time when Trae Young wasn't trying because they were up by so many. They were up by, I think, at 30 at one point.
At one point, well, I mean, down in that fourth quarter, I think it was almost at 19 at one.
Yeah, yes, they were 2 possessions away.
The game was over.
Yeah,
and in the last 4.5 minutes, they decided we're gonna make
this a respectable loss.
Yeah, and we're gonna go all out. You caught a little bit of fire, and then just all of a sudden went into this frenzy. Calm down,
Yeah.
It was
now Atlanta does need to finish games so that doesn't happen,
exactly.
and that does come in where the bench needs to play a little bit better when Trae Young is off the floor.
Exactly.
But outside of that, this was not a 128-124. This they got absolutely worked on in this game.
Yeah, I mean, into the last 4.5. Come on, man. I mean, it was only about another 30 seconds, another play or two, another whistle before half the stadium was about to empty out.
Yeah,
it's just. They made it interesting down the stretch based on like you said, they were trying to make it respectable. Atlanta has clearly took their foot completely off the gas, and again, like you just stated, they need to just learn, look, y'all inexperienced, we get that, work on just finishing and closing out the game. Yeah, the game, the game was over. They just needed to finish it, and they finished it, but, if somebody walked in, looked at the box score, came in at the very end, or just caught like the end of a clip and like, oh my God, that fourth quarter though. It wasn't the fourth quarter. It was the last 4 minutes.
Yeah. Plus, and I'm a little bit confused.
Like
I'm looking at
in garbage time.
Yeah. I'm looking at the line here. Please tell me why the 76ers are favored -5 to win this game.
They're the home team. Regardless.
The home team, yeah. What? Two nights ago
that caught all this fire. You should have heard the narrative. You asking why there's the line where is that? I'm just asking. I don't agree with it. I'm just
actually no. The line moved to -6 for Philadelphia.
As we were talking.
No, it's the article was written yesterday -5, and then
6.
It's -6 now on ESPN.
And that's fine because you said what did you say earlier? A series don't start until the home team loses. Series already started.
It did.
So all I'm saying is for Philadelphia, it will behoove you not to win tonight. That's all I'm getting at. Because you already know I'm all in on Atlanta. So
yeah, I
mean, if they pull off a sweep, don't say I didn't tell y'all so. It wasn't coming. I ain't saying they're gonna sweep them.
I don't think so, but
I'm just saying I would. Would I be surprised? A little bit. But because I'm like, come on, Philadelphia. Y'all better than that. You're better than that. You be better. Make better choices, Think better of yourselves.
They know the drugs.
As a 1 seed, you got to win a game. Come on now. I mean, damn it, you the 1 seed. Like, I don't care how bad
but Embiid does have this knee back hip injury that
that obviously can metamorph his game to 39 points. I'm like, what? And a losing. I mean, whoa, this is getting over there to the Detroit Lions type stuff now. This some crazy stuff. Anyway, I don't want to switch sports.
No.
Okay, but I'm I see when I see a team like the Hawks, I dissect them so crazy. That's why I'm over talking about. I'm over talking about Capella. You know,
Yeah.
like cause
Well, Capella's a huge part of
I'm
this.
looking at, but yeah, it's those intangible things that are making a difference. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, and B had 39-9. He's killing Capella.
But tired. Embiid is
Right.
tired.
He's killing Capella down by 19. You know, but Capella's sitting there with 11 and 10. A double is solid. And okay, dude, yeah, you may got 39, 40 points, but you don't have 60 points. You know, you don't have 25 rebounds. You have 9 rebounds. He out rebounded you, even though you may have been outscoring you, and that's great. You doing all the scoring, that's wonderful. And I think they got to the point where we can live with that. It's gonna be about everybody else, and that's what it came down to. It was about what is everybody else doing? And but I can't say his name. Bogdanovich, the guard for Atlanta.
Guard for Atlanta. Oh, Bogdanovich.
Bogdanovich, yeah. The X Factor.
Who was supposed to be in Milwaukee, but it's now
the X Factor. Yeah, in Atlanta, in ATL. Oh my God, this dude.
Yeah, the thing that's crazy about looking at this box score
was that
Trae Young only had 35 points. And I know I'm saying only 35. 35 is impressive, but still, only 35 with the way that he was playing. Like 35. Man.
He was out there. You know how you see, you used to see this when they would have like some high. This was back in, I don't know if you caught this, when there used to be the high school, when it be the high school players that was about to make the jump, and they'll like do some kind of story on them, and you see a game and watch. You ever watch them play with their peers? It's like a man amongst boys.
Yeah,
that's how he looks like he's out there playing, even in this NBA game. Like, this dude is so many levels above where the competition is right now, and I'm like, I'm sorry, Trae Young. Not sorry, Trae Young, but I'm sorry, but Trae Young. I mean, if anything, he should be he laying a blueprint down for Mr. Ben Simmons. This should be your impact on the game.
Yeah,
just throwing this out there. You don't have to shoot threes. Trae shoots a few, yeah, to his credit, But I mean, but he ain't out there forcing them up. That's what it ain't an integral part of his game. I'm gonna put the ball on the floor and stop me from getting to the basket. You know, and. Oh, you're gonna do a double, triple team in me, trees throwing at me. I'm just gonna dish around you. Boom. I mean, the guy, he does everything. He can do anything. You can't. This is a person you're trying to contain. You're not trying to stop him because you'll kill your whole afternoon or evening trying to stop this guy. You're not gonna stop him. But he's that guy.
Yeah, for sure. There's nothing to add on to that. He's just been insane. This entire playoff run, and
I miss John Collins.
That's what I was gonna get
to get
to.
You can take him. I'm mouth drop. Who is this guy?
He's a young power forward, I guess. I'm pretty sure he was drafted as a center, but I guess when you got Clint Capella, you definitely should be moving John Collins down. But this kid, he is, and this is what's nice about Atlanta and Phoenix being on the opposite sides. This is John Collins' coming out party, because before this season, we were looking at him like, okay, is he going to take that next step just as much as we were talking about DeAndre Ayton last year? Like, okay, you're the number one pick, dude. Like, when are you going to show up? And, hey, this is what he's doing. This is what he can do in big moments. And 7 for 9 field goal, 3 for 4 from 3. Didn't miss a single free throw. 21 points, 4 rebounds. I want him in the paint a little bit more. I know Clint Capella's on there, but still. But this dude got 2 assists and 2 steals. Like, come on. Like, this dude is killing the game right now.
Bringing that defense, and that's the thing. Atlanta plays defense. You got me. So you got me at defense. I'm like, they offense is just the cherry on top.
Yeah.
So this whole Trae Young, you can see why I'm so enamored by this guy. I'm like, man, dude, y'all don't handle your business defensively, and then you out here just doing them on the offensive end like this, man. All old school style and whatnot, early 2000, just I mean, now it looks like an and one. with defense. And
All right, I might have to be out on Atlanta though. They gave Tony Snell minutes.
oh, you so
It's only because Hunter has he was out.
You still on this Tony Snell thing.
That is a Chicago joke.
Atlanta is such that team. We could take a Tony Snell and put him on our roster, and we still run it back on y'all.
Was Tony Snell the dude that was supposed to be 2 years away from being 2 years away? Was that somebody else?
No, it was somebody from overseas, like from Greece.
Yeah.
It wasn't Giannis.
No, it wasn't Giannis. No.
I can't remember who. It was some dude from overseas. It wasn't him. Because Tony Snell came from New Mexico State.
Okay, gotcha. I can't remember who it was.
Which is why I was giving him opportunity, because I'm like, okay, I kind of seen this team kind of make a little noise in the tournament at one point. So I was like, okay, I give him, his athleticism was there. But yeah, his game never came around. However, he's still in the league, though.
Yeah,
so
getting minutes in a playoff game.
I don't be surprised 10 years from now, all of a sudden, Tony Snell jump on YouTube. I've been hearing a lot of talk. Y'all been saying a lot of stuff about
Bruno Caboclo. That's who it was. Bruno Caboclo.
Okay, I don't even remember the dude. That don't even ring a bell.
Because he's probably out of the league.
He never even got to 2 years, did he?
No, it was 2014 playoffs. I mean, he was supposed to be 2 years away from being 2 years away. That means, what, 2018 he should have been ready to play?
Well, yeah. What team was he on?
He got drafted by the Raptors.
Okay. He played how many years?
I don't think he played any.
Oh, didn't he make the team? Okay. Okay, moving on. Yeah. Type in 2 years away from being 2 years away. Y'all understand what we're talking about.
It is probably the funniest clip I have ever seen in any draft of all time. It is the funny. I don't think we could. I don't think that we made it through the rest of the draft after we heard that. We just started dying laughing.
Because the authenticity of the messenger who delivered the line himself.
Oh my God, he's on Houston's roster right now.
Oh yeah, who laughing now? He's still in the league.
Oh my God, he went from being drafted as a small forward to being a power forward to a center, and he never went down to the G League.
And he has never played a lick of basketball.
Not at all. Not at all.
He is
I don't know how we got to this. I'm sorry. I'll get back to the complete.
I don't know. I forgot. You took us there.
Yeah, that was my fault.
I was letting you go. I was trying to go elsewhere with the Tony Snell thing, but I left it alone.
Okay.
I was just saying Tony Snell was gonna go Kwame Brown one day.
Probably.
So yeah, Atlanta.
They're for real, and I think I like them in this series. I think that they have a good matchup with the way that Philly plays basketball, especially with the fact that Ben Simmons isn't shooting threes, or he's not shooting jumpers at all.
I mean, but he was 7 for 7.
Yeah, he was, and then I give him that. I mean, you can score, but
yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You can be efficient, but you got to be more than 7 field goals as the second star, first star on this team, whatever he's supposed to be.
He has to shoot.
You have to be shooting more, and that comes in. You're 0 for 0 from 3, and goddamn, you are 3 for 10 from free throws. I don't know what you need to, every single off day. He needs to be in the gym for 3 hours just shooting free throws.
Well,
because they're just gonna do hack a bin.
You're right, and this again. I'm gonna say this is a coaching problem. You could say this is a Ben Simmons problem. No, I don't. It can be how you've taken the responsibility away from him. This is a coaching problem first. I don't know,
fair.
Doc. I'm just sorry. Doc is just not handling this the way he needs to, and maybe Doc just don't have anything at this stage of the season. I don't know. Maybe it's too late. However, this is gonna come back to sting them one way or another.
Whether it's in this series or the next, Philadelphia is not going to the finals because that specifically is going to stop them.
Exactly, and you could be efficiently 7 for 7. And that's great, but you mean to tell me that you only took 7 shots?
Yeah.
Not that you hit a 7, but it's just that's not aggressive enough.
I need you to be, even if you're only going to hit 7, I need you to be 7 for 15.
I mean, granted, maybe that's because he was trying to exert so much energy on the defensive end, but if that's
not really because he wasn't guarding Trey.
I don't think that's what I was trying to say. I was just trying to figure out how he only managed to shoot 7 times.
And that was the other thing. That's another coaching issue is why the hell was Ben Simmons not on Trae Young for the full game? Why is Danny Green
You really
guarding
want
Trae
you
Young?
really want to see Philadelphia get exposed early in the series. Huh? That's
Fair.
why. You gotta save it for at least game 4. You gotta can't just go play that card just yet. That's I'm really being serious. I'm funny as it sounds. I'm telling you, Trey, you gonna take this dude. He's big as he is. That's fine, but you're not gonna be able to keep up with him.
I don't think he has to. I think that they need to get physical with him. And I know you don't want Ben fouling out, but if Trae Young knows he's gonna get contact coming. If Trae Young is comfortable enough to come across that 3-point line and play within the interior, there's no way Philadelphia has a chance. If Trae Young, the smallest point guard in the league probably right now, is comfortable inside the 3-point line where he doesn't feel like he's gonna get touched, or when he does get touched, he's gonna get fouled. Cool. Like, he's just going to continue to do it. It doesn't matter. But if you get physical with him and just make him a little bit uncomfortable, put a body on him and put a body of Ben Simmons on him. The game's about to start here. No, but if you have a body on him and you make him a little bit uncomfortable, get him a little bit off his game, just the tiniest bit, you open up a hole where they don't have too much offense outside of Trae Young. I mean, obviously they can score, but Trae Young is the driving factor of their offense. So if you're able to get him off his game just that slightest of bits, you can just completely run away with that and build off of that to win games. But it's not going to happen if Ben's not on him, because who else would you? Danny Green obviously is not going to get it done. Seth Curry,
you're gonna have to run him off of him. It's gonna have to be a series of players. I would say yes, Simmons to some degree, but you can't keep any one person on him.
It's got to be.
Preserve
I think it's got to be a Ben Simmons, Seth Curry duo type guarding of Trae Young. It cannot be Danny Green, because he is going to eat on Danny Green
I was gonna say
every
it can
single
start
day.
there, but
It cannot start with
honesty,
Danny Green.
It's really gonna take the whole team. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna take switches, traps. It's just you can't.
I will say
that
what I think that
dangerous.
they should do, what I think Philadelphia should do: bench Danny Green, start Matisse Thybulle, and have Matisse Thybulle start by guarding, because Matisse Thybulle, for all the shit that he gets for not being able to score as much as he should be able to for his height, at this day and age, Matisse Thybulle is he does have underrated defense. I think that he could make Trae Young uncomfortable enough to just slow him down enough where they can get going. Philadelphia can get going and not be 30 points down by the end of the half at any point. Like, they can be in a place where they're comfortable. They still might be down, but they can be in a comfortable spot where it's not like, oh, well, by the fourth quarter, why are we even here? Like,
that's possible.
But I think benching Danny Green has to start there. I would start Matisse Thybulle on him, though. I mean, it's not that he doesn't get a DNP. I'm just saying that he doesn't start.
Just doesn't start him.
Yeah.
It might be where you need to, because you try to kind of figure out where you're getting your offense off the bench, and that might make sense.
I mean, Danny Green was 2 for 7 and 0 for 4 from 3, and he's supposed to be your 3-point shooter.
Right.
Come on. Like,
but then there's Tyrese Maxey.
You want to start Tyrese Maxey, though?
I don't necessarily start him, but another person.
I'm talking about who should start against Trae.
Out there against,
who do you think should start against Trae Young?
No, I like the Thybulle situation. Shake Milton.
No, I couldn't start Shake Milton because he can't.
Exactly.
He's an offensive liability.
Right, and then this Seth Curry can't start it. I think he needs to be a guy that comes and help in.
Yeah,
kind of
help defense.
Because that's not his forte. He's not a defender.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
George Hill.
He's too slow.
Disappearing about a day. And yeah, it's Thybulle, and then I would come back. Like I said, then you have
Ben
Simmons, and then
Seth Curry.
You sprinkle in a little bit of Seth Curry, and I think you definitely got to use Tyrese Maxey more so. Not necessarily to start the game, but I think throughout the game, That's what he's there for. I
Yeah.
mean, granted, you also need him for offense too. I mean, hell, they're gonna need everybody because I'm serious. It's just what it's coming down to. More Hawk players are showing up in the box scores all throughout these categories. They're showing up in rebounds, assists. They
Yeah.
shooting threes. They hitting free throws. They're playing quality minutes. They clamping down on the defense. And, we look over in Philadelphia and it's just okay. What did Embiid do? What did Simmons do? Who
Yeah.
else stepped up? That's how it's the same because they're so 1-2 dimensional now,
Hmm.
right now, and they still don't have an identity. Yeah, you have these two guys who do not know how to play off of each other whatsoever, and you don't even have defined roles. And
And that's another reason why I wanted Atlanta to win this, because I feel like if Philadelphia gets knocked out in the second round,
what are they going to do against Brooklyn? What does
no,
it
no, I'm
be?
saying if Philadelphia gets knocked out in the second round, I'm in this
Oh,
round against Atlanta, you that entire organization's got to be like, okay, this has been how many years now?
you got to make some
You
hard
got to
choices.
make a change.
Yeah, and ain't talking about just moving some bench players around. You're gonna have to make a real hard choice. Are we keeping these two? Are we letting one go? Are we adding somebody to finally balance this or counterbalance this, like when they had Jimmy Butler?
Mm.
They, unfortunately, yeah, like I said, Jimmy Butler was not supposed to be the one that lead. One or the other may have. Jimmy Butler should have stayed, but moving on. You know what I'm saying? It was just if you had to take, we know who needed to leave.
And I've been pounding my desk about it for 3 years
Well,
now.
Embiid just said he scored 39, so he begs to differ now, even though
Not
they
really,
lost.
because yeah. Okay. Let's talk about the last game. Sorry, the last series. But talk about a disappointment.
Hmm.
Milwaukee versus Brooklyn.
It looked so promising after game one. Like even in the game one loss, that it was like, I know, yeah, Harden went down, but you all could have just took it on the chin and just, lay it out there and just
Mm-hmm.
took it. And they didn't. They actually came out and competed and just came up a little bit short. I'm like, on the road, hell, that's okay. They might got a shot at game two. Oh, come on, man. You see what happened in game two? It,
Yes, I did. It was
I'm like, oh my God, y'all went so far left on this one. Like 125-86. Is the series over? I mean, because damn. I mean, if you're talking about momentum and statement made, or you like you said, the series really haven't began until the home team lost. Well, goddamn. I mean, yeah. I guess that's the saving grace for the Bucks because they certainly did not show up.
they did not. And Thursday, man, there is a lot of pressure on Milwaukee.
Yeah, and it can't be one of these, some some dumb commentator will get on there. Oh, all the pressure's really on the, it's on all on me. It's all on the Bucks. I mean, not Bucks. I'm sorry, all on the Nets.
Nets.
You know, I mean, cause good and granted, they go down 2-1 and such and such and such. You let them back in the series, it ain't gonna be some dumb take like that. Like, are you serious? As opposed to we lose, we down 3-0. That's automatically the end of the series.
Yeah, and to me, it's I'm very disappointed in Giannis because man, well, first of all, you shouldn't have resigned. That's number one. This is a Milwaukee Bucks organization that can't put a team around you to be competitive. And
No,
I know, yes, we're talking about a super team. I get that, whatever. But
hey,
still, at the end of the day, you knew
super
that
teams,
this team was coming,
super teams do expose things.
and there is no way. There's just no way this team. I do think this series is over at this point. That dejected effort, you only were able to put up 86 points.
Yeah, what you just said is the take right now. This series is over. It's you seen in game two. I seen the country, the world seen game two. Milwaukee is cooked. I mean,
This is a
it's
dead man. This is a lame duck team.
yeah. I mean, and which is so weird is what you seen the gallant effort in game one, and then 2 nights later, this is really that Mike Tyson Lennox Lewis fight. Mike Tyson came out with everything he had in round one, and then the rest of the fight,
Yeah.
it was just embarrassing. And I'm just using that as an analogy, and I'm moving on. That's what you've seen in game from games one and game two. what is it going to take to even begin to have a conversation to say that that Milwaukee can be a contender in this series? It's going to start with a minimum. Giannis has to do 40 and 20 minimum per game. I'm talking 34 and 11 in a close effort. Great. Then you come with 18 and 11. That's not gonna get
18 points isn't gonna get it by any stretch of imagination.
But I'm saying add 20 points to their score. They still getting blown out. That's my point. Your starting point in your game has to start at 40 points and 20 rebounds. Starting point, like minimum, for you to even compete. This team is think about look at the disparity of the offense versus the defense and where his scoring is falling in that and his help and his supporting cast. Where's all them extra points going to come from? I'm just saying, for him as a leader, he has to clear that much off, and then the rest of the team.
I agree with 40. I just don't. I make 15 maybe, but what my thing with
they're not rebounding at all.
That's what I'm getting at. PJ Tucker, you were brought in specifically to get rebounds. You can't have 3 rebounds in a game.
I know, and I'm refusing to do this now. I'm putting it on these superstars. You all and Giannis wanted to stay. And what you're saying is valid. I just want for a moment. I'm just utilizing this from you're the superstar. This is not as a fan. I'm not saying this is my expectation. I'm saying mathematically, this is where it's going to take for you to even be relevant, to even be positioned to even try to win a game. You can't do it at 18 or just at 29 points a game and you're still down 30. You know what I'm saying? If you got 40 points and you're down 15, maybe now a Middleton might wake up and start to do something.
This bench play is disgusting.
There's no bench.
Brent Forbes played 22 minutes and had 10 points. He was 4 for 6, 2 for 4 from 3. And literally did nothing else.
This is one of my points in my notes. I'm like, who is Brent Forbes? like, who is this guy?
And Pat Connaughton had 14 minutes, no points, did not score a single, 0 for 1 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3. In 14 minutes, you took 1 shot?
The bench is non-existent. We keep talking about...
Why did Bobby Portis get 17 minutes?
I think his minutes are only defensively. He's not on the offensive end. He doesn't grab rebounds.
Why are you shooting 5 shots then if you're not...
He's just giving these guys time to get them a breather. But I'm just saying, he's a space filler. But their bench is non-existent. They don't have a bench. Drew Holiday. Yeah, he definitely got to step his game up. Middleton got to step his game up. I just started with Giannis. I was throwing from top down.
No, I got you.
It starts with that minimum base. Middleton, definitely. Your points and rebounds have to go back up.
Okay.
Go.
I'm done with Middleton. And I was done with Middleton last year. But I am tired of people telling me that Middleton is an all-star. He's not. This dude is trash. You are in a playoff game, and you are the number 2 scorer. You played more minutes than Giannis did, and you only put up 17 points. You are 7 for 20 from the field. You are there specifically to just hit freaking shots, whether it's from the 3-point line or inside. I don't care where you hit them from. If you're going to take 20 shots, you have to make at least 11 of those.
Yeah.
I don't like... And Giannis, again, I'm disappointed. Why are you only taking 15 shots from the field?
Yeah. I'm just saying, the offense is very lackluster. The defense is just not there at all. They don't match up with Brooklyn in no way, shape, or form outside of Giannis. Chris Middleton's game just hasn't stepped his game up, and it's just not.
He hasn't stepped his game up in 4 years.
Okay.
Come on, I'm tired of people saying that Chris Middleton needs to step up because this is what we've been saying.
Okay. Well, if I take Middleton out of this, then I have nobody else to talk about. The rest of these guys are not even worth talking about.
No, I get what you're saying,
Holiday and that's what I'm getting.
And this is what I was getting at with Giannis. Why the hell did you resign to this franchise?
I don't know.
It is so frustrating because I said this last year. If he's re-signing here, It is just going to be however long his contract is more the same of what we've saw over the
And
last 4
and
years.
and what yes, you are absolutely right. Because Brooke Lopez, I don't have a problem with the pickup. Chris Middleton, I don't have a problem with him being on the team. Drew Holiday, great pickup. Now, my question is this: why I said all of that? When are y'all now going to get the superstar that we need to come over here to play with Giannis? Thank you for getting all the supporting cast members, but then now are you going to give the number two? Because they did everything but give him a number two. Because as you're saying, and I agree, Chris Middleton is not a number two. He's a three at best.
He's a 4.
I
Chris
can't.
Middleton sucks to me. I don't care how much. Yes, if you're getting 20 shots a game,
Mm-hmm.
of course you're gonna have inflated fucking numbers. This dude does not play any type of good basketball when it comes down to crunch time. Every single time we make it to the playoffs, this dude disappears. Every single time he gets matched up with anybody that has any semblance of defense in a league that doesn't have defense, how are you shooting 7 for 20 from the field?
I don't know. Look, this is not a good. This definitely wasn't a good game. This team, it's severely overmatched right now, and
yes, this is with the context that they are playing against.
No, I wasn't even talking down on them. It's just
I am because
we always do this opposite. We never do it at the same time. Because I'm gonna try to have a serious moment and I can't get through this tape. But you go ahead. Because you know what? They played that bad. I'm giving you you have this. That means
because it's not about the fact that they played that they didn't win. Because like you said, game 1 was a valiant effort, and you guys played well, and you guys were just there, and you were. I need to just. Do you have game 1 up?
No, but it's 115, 107.
No. I know what the score is. It's I need to see what is their.
Yep, I got it up.
What is their shooting from the field? The percentages
for which team?
For the Bucks.
The Bucks was. I'll be trying to find it before me. They were 44%, 45 if you want to round it up.
And then from 3,
20.
Yeah. So we basically said after game 1 that they weren't going to shoot 20% from the field again. And
but you want to even know hear something else?
What?
Ask me about the free throws.
Well, I don't even. This number is going to piss me off. What is?
57%.
And they were 44% in game 2. So
it's with a valiant effort. You see where they even came up short.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is,
and when they're getting worse.
Yeah,
more important.
My issue is not the fact that they're going up against Brooklyn, because yes, I get it. If Brooklyn was winning and it was still the same type of game that they had in game 2, I wouldn't be as pissed off.
I understand.
At this point, I'm talking specifically not even about how because Brooklyn doesn't play defense. They just go and outscore you.
I think I'm based on what you're saying. I'm a little more. I'm probably more surprised that they even got as close as they did in game 1, as opposed to what happened in game 2. Because game 2 is more representative of what that damn roster even looks like. Like this team that they built. Like
true.
That makes sense how y'all got blown out to me. Now,
what
don't make sense is I was inspired by what y'all came out and went against the odds and actually made it look like it was going to be a series. And now I get to see what reality is. I know people are like, well, there's only 2 games. No. I've seen enough to know who's the real Milwaukee team. And it was the team in game 2, not the team in game 1.
And the even more just baffling thing, I guess you could say, about this is just the mentality that they came into the playoffs with. Milwaukee, I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You guys came in saying, we're on a friggin' mission. I don't care who we have to go up against. You understood that your legacy is really based off of this playoff run today. And you came out and you do that 86 points in a playoff game?
Yeah, that was it's pretty lackluster. And Giannis with his 35 minutes. Yeah, and I'm looking at these 3 fouls. Okay, so what is up? They logging a lot. Man, they getting a lot of bench time. And it's just the game, the way the game was played. It didn't show any type of any get up and go.
Yeah.
No drive. No, it seemed like they took their foot off the gas and then they just sat. Let's sit it out. We ain't gonna win the game anyway. I'm like,
Is this a proponent to the fact that they were the first team to make it through, and they had to sit for so long?
I don't know, but game one was game one. We talking about game two.
True. You're
That's
right.
why I'm saying it's just like I
I'm
think the
trying to
real
not be as pissed
Milwaukee
off.
team. I'm saying is to say Milwaukee, yeah, they were the third seed. Third seed this year.
Yeah.
and they were that team that was kind of knocking on the door, and now we got an infused super team that kind of springboard their way up really to the top. And Philadelphia still kind of sitting there. We already discussed Philadelphia, but yeah, we already know Milwaukee is a top seeded team in the East on the downcline. And we're seeing it right now. And this only, I will be shocked if they get one game. If this even goes 5.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not shocked if they're getting swept in here. Now if this thing goes 6, I'm shocked. Because I just don't see. I'm at this point. I don't see how Milwaukee is going to win a basketball game in general.
We'll see how they play at home with fans, but I just from their performance in game 2, and like you said, the decline.
But yeah, I'm sorry.
No, well, that is I will say that they do have a very passionate fan base, so
okay.
That could give some credence, and maybe that gives them the spark that they need to get over the top and just get one game, maybe. And if they can win game 3, this series will look different, and we'll say, hey, exactly. maybe game 2 was an outlier, but
to even have any respectability, they have to win game 3. You can't be,
and they have to win game 3 convincingly to me, because if it's in this close ticky tack, like where, let's just say, even with James Harden being out, like that, I think that's the thing with James Harden being out. That game 3's win needs to be it needs to be convincing, and it needs to be Giannis, like you said, at least 40 points, 20 rebounds.
You said 15. I'm
15 to 20.
I don't think 4 rebounds was going to.
I think he needs to have a triple double though. I think he needs to have at least 10 assists. He needs to be a playmaker too, because Chris Middleton's not going to do it.
No.
Drew Holiday, he's trying, but he's not going to do it.
Again, they have not addressed that number 2 guy on their team. Like they have severely underassessed their talent here, and they got a big hole. And there's Giannis, and there's this big hole that's supposed to be supporting them, and then there's the rest of the guys.
Yeah. It's like you said, that is a glaring hole that they have, and it's Chris Middleton. And I think game 2 should enlighten some people to that fact. But on top of that, I think that once they are out of this playoff run, which in my opinion is going to be sooner rather than later, they're really going to have to take a real hard look at their roster. And I think Jay Will said it the other day. He was saying after this, if they get swept or they lose this series in 5, and next year they don't make it to the finals, Giannis needs to ask for a trade. Now, first of all, he shouldn't have signed this contract in the first place. I've been saying that for the last year and a half now. But Giannis needs to get out of Milwaukee. Because Milwaukee, the thing is that I don't think they can get a number 2, because any number 2 is going to want to go to Miami. Any number 2 is going to want to go to LA. Any number 2 is going to go anywhere where it's warm. Nobody wants to come to Milwaukee.
That's true. Unfortunately, this is one of them destinations where it's just not a draw. It never has been, ever.
I mean, I think people are more inclined to come to Minnesota than they are to Milwaukee, only because it's Milwaukee. Like, what is Milwaukee giving you? Like,
what do you say? What is Wisconsin doing for you lately? Nothing. No.
It's
Wisconsin.
You can get all the cheese that you want.
Yeah. He did, yeah. If that gives them another year, or as a timetable, then that gives them also another year to hopefully try to
They've
convince.
only got one more chance to convince Giannis that they can build a team
I
around
was
him.
gonna say convince some player to bring over here. Like they need a number two guy. They don't have it. You
No.
know,
And if somebody comes at me one more time saying that Chris Middleton is a number two, I am literally pulling
Chris
up this box
Middleton
score again.
is the sad number two on this team, but he's not a number two.
It's
And
not.
that's the
He does
difference.
not have number two talent.
It flashes here and there, but he's not a number
Flashes.
two. Oh, his numbers. I mean, he's had some solid games. I'm not gonna sit there and say he don't do anything, but he's not a number two.
What has he done in the playoffs?
He's not a number two. I keep saying I don't know how many ways I've already cut to the chase. I don't not much, but that doesn't
Not
mean
anything.
there are good players who don't play well in the playoffs. That does exist,
but that's not what they need. They need good players who play in the playoffs. Like that.
I
That's
understand
exactly
that.
what they need.
And again, we talking about Chris Middleton. When it was saying he was the number two, I'm like, oh, okay, that's new. I mean, Middleton? Okay, all right. And it's been like that ever since. So it's with reason. Like, okay, he's not the number two. He's a 3 or 4 guy. And he's talented, but he's not that guy. He does not transform Milwaukee's success whatsoever. It's Giannis, and Giannis has been carrying his team by himself. And he has some nice complementary pieces around him. However, that's not enough. He needs that number two sidekick. He
needs somebody where when he is tired, he can sit for 5 minutes.
Even he can use a Paul George, and I'm not big on Paul George.
Me neither.
But Paul George is a light years from a Chris Middleton.
Yes.
So sorry, it's just not. I don't think Middleton sucks as a basketball player. He is just not a number two, and he is severely
overrated.
Oh my God, overrated on his team. Overrated in this league. He's not a number two. And if he is ranked 30 in number twos, because sorry, he's not that guy. And we're seeing it. And playing Brooklyn, they're only going to expose this more and more. And I'm sorry, I really believe game 2 was the elimination game. That was like game 5.
Yeah.
In the equivalency of what game 5 means to a series, that was game 5. So
we'll see, depending on like I said, what happens in game 3. But man, just the more and more I look at this box score,
man, and I'm gonna give you that. It's going to be one or two things. It's a sweep unless they win game 3. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
They only can get one. And if they ain't getting it in game 3, they're not getting it at all. Because it's like, if you go down 3-0,
they are not wasting any time.
You really going to go all out? I'm telling this from Milwaukee's standpoint. You're really going to go all out all of a sudden in game 4?
No, you need to go all out now.
That's what I'm trying to say. After being down 0-3, I just don't believe they're going to all of a sudden muster up enough.
And that's what I'm saying. Because if they go all out in game 3 and they still lose,
right,
that's going to be literally the Portland Denver series. Damian Lillard gave everything that he had, and you could tell. I mean, they came out and they played well in game 6, but still, they were just, I don't have it, man. I tried.
Exactly. And that's when you really, Tatum, he should, when 50 just ain't enough.
Yeah.
Like, what was God? How much do you have to score to win? Well, Giannis, it starts at least 40 and 20 rebounds, and then, as you just said, 10 and 10 assists.
Yeah.
You got to do it all. I was saying, I know you can't do it all. Therefore, I was just going to keep them in 2 categories where, dude, these 11 rebounds you averaging, that ain't enough, man. When you said 15, I'm just like, I'm sorry. 4 extra rebounds, 1 extra rebound a quarter is not going to get it. That's why I said it has to be like 20. You need like 9 more. But his impact needs to be so much more significant. Your presence needs to be known. It needs to be felt everywhere. Like,
I need to see the
advanced
analytics because like what you're saying, I don't think they're capitalizing on the 11 rebounds that he's already got.
They probably not, but in comparison, I'm looking at the rebounds in general, and okay, he had 11, and I'm looking at game 1. Middleton had 13. Okay. I'm just looking at game 1.
Yeah.
Looking at at least the game when they had decent stats. And I'm saying, okay, so you got 13 and 11, and then the next person, Drew Holiday, found a way I don't know how he got 9, but he got 9. And then you had Bobby Portis with 7 coming
Yeah.
off the bench. I'm just like, damn, Giannis. I mean, come on, 13. I mean, Bobby Portis coming off the bench with 7, and you only have 11. Not as impactful as you think it is. When people, well, he had 34 points. If your scoring is going to take away from the rest of your game, then I'm sorry, I can't even rate you as that guy because you can't. You have to be able to do both and still be impactful. And just again, when you got a Chris Middleton, yeah, he put up 13 rebounds, but you only got 13 points. So your 2 extra rebounds don't really mean much. You know what I'm saying? They don't even complement each other.
Yeah, but when you're also 6 from 23 from the field and 0 for 5 from 3.
No, and I that's what I'm speaking to.
Yeah.
Like he's working against even Giannis, and this is Giannis' better game, 34 and 11. What I'm saying is that 34 is nice, but man, if that 11 was like 18, might be a little different in a when you lose you lose by
7
8.
extra possessions where you have another chance to get another 2 points.
And that's and we're looking at a 115-107 final. That's what I'm saying. Completely different.
Yeah.
Game 2 just wiped out the entire analysis of that. It's just like, okay, I said all that just to say, but game 2 washes it all away. So the analytics I'm looking at is really just breaking his numbers down into how he even impacts this team, even from a quarter by quarter basis, and just his numbers look good on an individual aspect. But when you're going against an opponent, you're in a playoff game, and it's a super team. Come on, let's be real. What do you really have to be doing out here to even be in the conversation? I don't even know if 40 is enough,
Well, because
I'm trying to be realistic.
What I was just gonna get at is the fact that yes, Giannis needs to be 40, 20, and 10, but Chris Middleton also needs to be 25, 10, and 10. Like
exactly.
You need to be a real number 2. You need to be scoring along with it. You need to be making along with him. And I've never seen you do it in the playoffs before, but if it's gonna happen, it needs to happen now. And the thing is that it's actually a real possibility because Brooklyn's defense is not that good.
No, they don't. Yeah, they don't really play defense, and they just gonna outscore you, and not a brand at least I like, but
it's a fact of the matter.
It's enough to beat this team, and it's enough to be successful against Milwaukee, and because Milwaukee got some holes here, and it's
glaring holes.
I don't know if they went on the cheap or they just they found themselves short in the market of the free agent market where
well, because like I was saying earlier, Bogdanovich was supposed to be the other guard here,
and they're got to be feeling the effects of that because
they're running the 3 forward system right now.
Yeah,
that's not working.
No, no, because. And again, I can't say I like Brook Lopez. I think he could be utilized in the right system on the right team. This team is not built right.
I don't think Brook Lopez is a starter though.
That's what I'm saying. Makes him a liability. But where the team's skills are, he has to be the starter. Just like they don't have anybody else.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not starting Bobby Portis.
No.
And Thanasis doesn't have he's not big enough to start there. Like maybe you put Giannis at the center.
You could get away with it.
Is that would? But you don't have enough guards to play small ball like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying. That's what I'm getting at.
Wait, you're gonna start Jeff Teague at the 2 guard?
Oh, he a 1.
I know he's a 1, but Drew Holiday's a 1.
No, you got to right. You got to run Brian Forbes, which again, that's my question. Who is Brian Forbes? Because he's the guy. If nothing else, he did double his stats from game 1 to game 2. If there was any shimmering silver lining in anything statistically that was trending up, he doubled his numbers. Would you like to hear what they were?
No.
They were very low.
I know.
But he did double them.
Good for him.
He went from 5 points to 10 points. He shot 2 for 8, and then he shot 4 for 6. Very efficient. I don't know what you're talking about, but
that is efficient.
These are they ain't advanced analytics, but they're analytics.
Yeah.
But is it enough to beat a super team?
But he was 1 from 5 from 3. What was he in game 2?
Where?
1 from 3.
I have no idea.
Okay.
Nothing. No 3-pointers. Uh-uh. No, none of that. No,
He's
no.
2 for 4.
I'm just saying, as a team, they're not. That 3-point shooting is not there anyway.
But you have to shoot threes to keep up with this team.
You want to tell me that? I'm just getting at a point of you. Now we see why where 125-86 comes even without Harden.
Yeah.
Okay, why is it 20-6 Philadelphia over Atlanta? I'm sorry, I just panned over at the screen.
I don't know. I haven't been able to watch yet, so
Okay,
let's
keep
wrap
moving
this up because
I
there's
need to
not
see
much more
what.
we can talk about with Milwaukee. Yeah, it's just I'm disappointed in Milwaukee's play for sure. I think that's an understatement. And I think everybody else in the country is disappointed with Milwaukee's play. Like you said, it's going to come down to Game 3. If they win it, they're in this series, and there's a possibility that they can come out of this. If they lose that game, this series is 100% over. There is nothing that this team can do to come back to win. So that's all I got from there. Do you have anything else that you want to
Yeah,
touch on?
I got my new got that dog award that
Who's that?
well, I had a couple of people that was definitely up for consideration.
Okay.
So I'll say my two runner ups, and then I will give who my got that dog award was this particular year. It's my first one that I'm giving out. So with that, my very first runner up is actually Trey Young.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be the winner of this one. Okay.
I thought he was too, but it was very hard. But
okay.
I mean, he has his
well, now you've perked my interest. Who the hell is
35 and 10? And no. When I say you like, oh, okay, I can see how that is.
Yeah.
I can see how that is, and it's rightfully so. But he came up just a little bit short. He was right there. However, I seen a performance that just eclipsed that, and I just had to I had to put that in consideration.
Yeah.
But my other
runner up
was Dame.
Okay.
Of course, his 55.
I will never disagree with Dame's got that dog in him.
And then he was right there, and it was in this lackluster, y'all follow me, he charges up the hill alone. Yeah. Nobody's going with him. And what happens when he get at the top? He gets shot, and he comes rolling back down, and everybody just kept watching him. And now your leader's dead. It was a reenactment scene from Glory. Yeah. Moving though. With that being said, that's what happened though.
Yeah.
so Damian Lillard was the other runner up, but my number one, and he will not be considered any further, and you'll understand why once I say his name. But it goes to Luka Doncic.
Okay.
Luka was that dude in that Clippers series.
Yeah.
I didn't know that much about this guy. I did not watch the NBA for almost the last 3 years. I just kept hearing his name.
You didn't watch the NBA for the last decade.
Really? But I just kept hearing his name, and, I seen a clip here and there. And I wasn't even impressed. But once I sat back and watched the game, and then furthermore start watching the series.
I told you.
Man, this dude out here
nasty.
Man, this dude out here doing double dribble shots just in the corner, just fadeaways out to the three, nothing but net. You can't even. It's undefensible. Ain't nothing. I mean, come on, Kawhi, with all your athleticism, 2-time defensive player of the year, blah blah blah, this and that, dude. You cannot stop this guy.
Not at all.
I mean, man, Luka's that dude. So now you understand why I did not say Trey Young.
Yeah,
it's. Luka's been playing insane. And then in a game 7 in a losing effort, he walks out of with what? 46?
46.
46 points in a losing effort. I'm not even in a bad, exasperated. He just didn't have enough help down the stretch. And so Luka is got that dog award. My very first official one goes to Luka Doncic. And I do have a question of the day.
What's that?
So we'll finish it off on that. And this is in the spirit of Dame. I just want to throw that out there,
Okay.
and all the things that's going on, and
Yeah, we didn't really touch on the
with
Blazers
this,
today.
I know, and with his future, and whether or not he wants, where he wants to play. Go ahead.
I will say, before you get to your question of the day,
Uh-huh.
I do want to talk about that very briefly because I did say last week that if they didn't make it out of this series, we need to really consider if Dame needs to move out of Portland. They lost Game 6, and he immediately put up an Instagram post. He put something on Twitter. He was in that press conference, and it sounds like he's done with Portland, or Portland needs to make some significant changes. Plus, Yusuf Nurkic, the center power forward over there, he was asked directly, like, what do you think needs to, like, are you thinking about coming back? Because I think his contract is up. And he specifically was like, there's got to be a lot of changes here for me to come back. Like, we need, there's a lot of work that has to be done.
I heard the soundbite. He didn't sound very like, dude,
yeah,
I'm out of here.
Yeah, it was direct. There was no sugarcoating it.
Ain't nothing 100%, but a hell of a lot of things going to have to happen before I leave.
Yeah.
Before I show
Plus, they already fired their head coach. So, but that's what I did want to say, that I very specifically said Dame gotta, because I was questioning the fact if he was going to be loyal to Portland or if he's going to start, we're going to start seeing those cracks in the armor, and we're seeing it.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I agree.
Yeah.
And now, it is a very real thing.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but your question of the day.
That helps it just helps build up the question. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of said it was in light of in the spirit of Damian Lillard. But should superstars leave and team up with other superstars, or stay and lead their respective teams instead?
Are we answering that, or are we just going to leave that for the fans?
Yeah, we can answer right now, but
Okay.
I mean, I'm going to write it. I will put it out in the comments on YouTube. So
okay.
I did it for the other
and I'll
one.
put it up on Twitter as well.
Yep. But should superstars leave and team up with other superstars, or stay and lead their respective teams instead?
So there's a third option that I'm going to squeeze in here.
Go right ahead.
I don't think it's a thing about leaving your team, because Giannis needs to leave Milwaukee. And I think that Dame needs to leave Portland.
I understand. And I've said it that way. It's very purposeful.
Yeah, because you also put on the caveat of bring with no other superstars.
Yeah.
I'm saying you don't have to go to a team with other superstars. You can just go to an organization that's actually going to build the right team for you, because Milwaukee clearly can't do it for you.
I see it, and I would love to see it.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't preface it. But that's fine if you want to say that. And that's very
because
I
think players should have every right to do that. But I saw this the other day where people were talking about, or it was Max Kellerman. He was out here talking about how, KD is going to be looked at in such a different light now that he's got rings and championships, even though everything is. Oh, Tony. He's got busted in the mouth. No,
he did.
We were talking about KD and his legacy. Now that he has rings, now people are looking at him differently because, he's got the rings, but also to back up his play. And I'm like, but I think in 5 to 10 years, or especially after he retires, we're going to look back at this run, especially if he wins this year, and be like, but he manufactured a ring 3 times. Twice with the Golden State Warriors and once with, at least once with Brooklyn.
And we already kind of accepted it. It's not even, you know what I'm saying?
I'm looking back at it now, even with the Golden State stuff, and I'm just like, but you were supposed to win. Like, there's like, it wasn't like you actually overcame anything. You were the favorite from day one.
Right.
As opposed to when you're looking back at Michael, he had to overcome Detroit. And then you had to run through LA. And then Portland and all of these other teams that Utah, Phoenix. You never were the favorites. Except for, I think, 96?
No, Utah was the favorite in 98.
Okay.
And the last one, Phoenix was favored in 93.
Okay. Whatever. I'm just saying, like, at least all of those were competitive and close matchups. You're looking at, like, we could see it going either way.
They were the favorites, but they were never like, we were counting out Chicago as a complete underdog. It was just like, oh, if there was ever a year for a team to beat them, it would be this one.
But as opposed to, we go up against Golden State with the 73 win Warriors, get KD. Now they're going up against the champions in Cleveland. Easy. I'm taking Golden State there. Same thing the next year. Year after that, they were favorites going up against Toronto, who was another manufactured team overnight. In a way, they did have pieces already there, but still,
Kawhi just
exactly
signed immediately. I mean, all of a sudden, here you are.
Yeah, and with that whole situation, they were favorites to win that 3 years in a row. And if KD was still healthy, they would have. And then same thing with LeBron himself. Everything that happened in Miami. I think that at the end of this, we are going to look back at that. Once everything is said and done, everybody's retired, and we look back at this in 20 years and be like, that was a horrible time for the NBA.
Yeah. I could see that. I mean, depending on where, because the NBA is ever evolving. And the question, obviously, 20 years from now, it has to evolve from this. It has
to. For it to survive.
For me to survive. Gosh. Yeah. But I preference the question that way simply because, one, people have the option to stay, like a Giannis, or people have the option to go, like a Damian Lillard. Now the question is, what is Damian Lillard gonna do? Because it was inspired from him, that because of his situation. It's like, you're in a very unique situation, sir, where you can stay loyal, and there's nothing wrong with that. I like that. However, these second cities, I like to call, like the Milwaukees and the Portlands, unfortunately,
Milwaukee's a third city, sir.
Yeah, I mean, it's town.
Yeah, a township, a village, right. A neighborhood.
Yeah, just Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Gosh. You have to, you have to run your business quite differently. You got to run your organization quite differently, because you're not afforded these privileges that some of these other markets allow you. And we're watching like a good basketball team as a whole, unfortunately, and inevitably gets exposed in the playoffs, and we're seeing it unravel right before our eyes. And I'm like, this is not good basketball. I'm sorry. No. At the most critical time of the season, we're getting the worst basketball ever. Where get me back to the regular season then, because that's when basketball at least halfway decent right now this year. And now, it's Milwaukee. I know you're saying another year. No, this has to be addressed in the off season.
I feel
not
like
after next year. I'm like,
I'm saying this year it needs to be addressed, because if they lose next year,
I'm not even. That's the thing. You can't run this back. Oh hell no! You can't come back with this and be like, okay, we just.
I've been saying that about Philadelphia though.
Same. I understand. At least Philadelphia has 2 stars. I'll give them that.
Don't work together.
But they at least got
we're not talking
one,
about Philly.
They got one that ain't working together, as opposed to Giannis and Giannis.
Yeah.
I
will ask you this.
Yeah.
Piggyback off your question of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that teaming up with another superstar would also entail Dallas if he goes to Dallas? I think that's a 1-2 punch, as opposed to doing the Dame comes over here. We got Luka here already.
Maybe I'm using. I'll leave it as star. So I would say, should a superstar leave and team up with other stars?
Okay.
Or stay and lead their respectable team. Let me leave it at that.
In that case, I will answer that. Yes, I think they should leave and team up with other stars, because watching this one-man band in Portland, it's fun for a game, but when I'm looking at a team and I'm looking at a dude as great as Damian Lillard in the playoffs not be able to get it done with his team, I'm not interested in watching this dude fail over and over again, because the next best guy on his roster is Carmelo Anthony.
Mm-hmm. And I know, I agree. And
I don't. I
It's
think
nothing
because
wrong with these rosters. It's just because the era we in, and this super team and top heavy,
that's what I was gonna say.
it's offsetting everything.
I think that there's a difference between teaming up with other stars as opposed to teaming up with other superstars and creating a super team.
Gotcha.
And so I don't like the super team aspect where I'm going to make sure that I get 3-4 of my dudes coming over here, taking deals that they would never take anywhere else to come play here, as opposed to, hey, we've got this much roster space, this much salary cap space. This is what we can give you, 20 million, 25, 15, whatever the amount is. 3-year deal. Get over here. Let's see what we can do in these 3 years together. Because if Dame did that with Dallas, I don't think that's a super team. I just think that's a really, really good roster, especially with the role players that they have there.
Well, it wouldn't go down as a super team because you would have him and Luka, and you had the rest of it. Like I said, I think it's just be a balanced,
a good
and there's
roster.
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
and it's that like Damian Lillard goes to the Lakers. I'm not a fan of that. Damian Lillard goes to the Clippers. Not a fan of that.
No.
Could he fit there? Sure. Damian Lillard to Phoenix.
Because the thing with that, because if you have to go, if you're going to LA, you have to take a basically a veteran's minimum deal to play on that roster.
But yeah, to make the cap work.
Yeah.
But
when
LA,
people are doing stuff like that, that's what pisses me off.
Yeah, and LA is willing to uphaul the entire roster just to get them on there and reshuffle all the other pieces.
And then we'll go get all these other pieces because guys will sign a 1-year, $1 million deal just so that they can play on a roster that's going to get them a ring. I don't like that.
I'm tired of saying that. It's just it's killing free agency. It's killing all kind of competitiveness in the NBA, and it's just really just to 2 or 3 franchises. Okay, y'all got y'all pick of the litter all throughout the year.
Yeah,
got this endless well of players you can go pool of players you can pull from. And I'm like, I'm just not feeling that. So anyway, that's where my question came from, because it's a very real situation. Hopefully this Damian Lillard thing, I'm hoping starts to trend the league back to more balance and parity like it used to be, and not just this top heavy competitive, and one type AAU style tournament. And like I said, and we said it earlier, it had its time. I think it's time to move back on or something.
Yeah.
And there's too much talent in here to just be
all concentrated on 4 different rosters.
Exactly. And you got the other 28 just sitting around.
Yeah.
Because Milwaukee is by right. Even the context has been this series. They're a good team.
Yeah.
By all means. In comparison, now you've really seen they've been exposed. In comparison to them playing against Brooklyn and this super. Oh my God! This team has too many holes. And the fact is, you could have been a much better team and still be losing, but you wouldn't be losing like this.
No. Yeah. Well, I think that's going to do it for today's episode. Let us know what you guys think about these. First of all, the takes. We've had quite a few takes in this episode. What I thought about Kawhi being overrated. Just everything that's happening with Milwaukee. Just let us know what you're thinking down below. Please leave a comment. Let's have a full open forum discussion about that. Plus, answer the question of the day here. Read it back again.
Question of the day. Should superstars leave and team up with other stars, or stay and leave their respective teams instead?
Yeah. So answer those down below. Let us know what you guys are thinking. Give your take on that. You can either do that right there on YouTube, or head over to our Twitter at @the_square_pod and answer the question there. Also, please just like, rate, subscribe. Want to get the show in front of as many people's ears as possible. So please share it with a friend, share it with a neighbor, whoever else may find us a little bit interesting, a little bit fun here. Well, we just want to thank you guys for listening, and we will catch you guys in the next one.
Have a good one.